Hi guys, good morning. Good morning. So I went out there, of course, and as the rest of you did, I went ahead and started to prepare this speech for you guys. And the one that stuck out to me the most here: if the blind lead the blind, both shall fall into a ditch. And it's actually from the Bible, which is pretty funny because I actually was able to correlate that. It's actually perfect because I myself, some of you, actually many of you know, but I was actually extremely religious growing up. My parents didn't really push anything onto me, but they took me to the classes and stuff like that. And I decided to go ahead and just to learn as much as I could about my religion, just because anything that I do, of course, I like to know everything about it. If you can already tell from my Star Wars speech from the past time that I was up here. I generally agree with this. Honestly, the blind lead the blind, both shall fall into a ditch. It's pretty straightforward. I think that this can pertain to a lot of things. For example, you just did a speech and you thought you were going to do really shitty, but you did a great job. We were all just talking about it over there. And the fact how that relates to the quote is like, a lot of us, a lot of times, just because we're scared to do something, or just because we feel like we're going to fail at something, we don't have an open mind to seeing the positive sides. And this can relate to all of us in a lot of ways because, for example, even just getting up this morning, you're like, maybe I just want to get some extra sleep, and I'm not gonna even see what the day has in store for me, or use my time to the most of it, of course. The reason I brought up the whole religion thing earlier, of course, is because just volunteering at my church and dealing with teenagers, leading groups and stuff like that, I got a lot of criticism from people just because they see the church as and the religion itself as one thing based off of whatever happened, or negative things that happen. You'll see them on the news and stuff like that, but they fail to see the purpose behind it, the community behind it, and things like that. I myself, I don't consider myself religious anymore. I do believe in something higher, but once again, the whole point was that a lot of times, I'm just using that as an example, but there's a lot of things out there right now. You look at Donald Trump, for example. A lot of us are currently talking about, this guy, especially currently speaking about how ignorant he is, and how he doesn't see anything other than the fact of what he believes. And although it is good to be confident in yourself and to believe in things, if you're not going to be open to a lot of things or anything other than you believe, there's no room for growth, and there's always going to be limitations, no matter how much you know. If you're ignorant and you are blind in this case, you may do well for a certain amount of time, but there's going to come a day where that's all you know, and if you're not open to learning anything else, of course, you're going to fall into a ditch. And if you're leading someone else, like Trump is, they are gonna fall, and it's not gonna work out the way they're expecting it to, just because they're not open to seeing other sides or other possibilities and things of that nature. I think this also pertains to your friends. You know what I mean? A lot of us have a certain group of friends, and sometimes we're not open to getting new friends just because they do different things and they're not into the same things that we are, unfortunately. But it only takes a couple of seconds. For example, you were talking about a compliment. You know what I mean? What if I was so one-sided? It's I don't really believe that I'm a funny guy, so fuck you. Sorry, but you know what I mean? I'm not gonna even take you into consideration. But of course, if you're willing to take things into consideration, you can gain best friends like he did. Or you can gain just new knowledge on things, and maybe you can become interested in something else. There's always things out there for you to learn and to grow upon, just if you're open-minded. So I think the point of everything that I've had to say up here, obviously, is that I agree with this. The blind lead the blind, both shall fall into a ditch. I think the general rule of thumb here is, of course, don't limit yourself, because if you keep your eyes open and you continuously challenge yourself each day to see things from a different perspective, there is no limitation to what you can do.
All right, Nick, most of the delivery things are fine. You got good projection in your voice. There's nice variety. You power through the presentation pretty effectively, except for the phone and the quote in your hand. The gestures are good indicators that, sometimes that's a little bit distracting. You generally look at the audience the whole time that you're speaking. I didn't see any awkward or anxious body movements that you were using. Most of the movements seemed relatively purposeful, so there aren't any real big issues when it comes to anxiety. I thought at the end of the speech you came back to the point that you were trying to make at the beginning, which was good. And I thought you had a pretty good start of the speech also. The content is, it just seems like you're running through ideas and there's not really a plan there. I mean, you came back to religion 2 or 3 times, and that just seemed like the crutch that you went to when you couldn't get to a new idea or a next point fast enough. Let me come back to that particular point. The Trump thing comes in, it feels a little bit last minute. I'm not saying that it doesn't fit here, but like I said, it didn't seem like it was part of the plan. It was just one of those things that spontaneously came up, and I think if you plotted a little bit more, you'd be okay. If you had that organizational structure ahead of time, I wouldn't have much criticism of you here. Like I said, all the content stuff is not bad, but it's not well organized. It doesn't get much chance to develop, and then it just seems, like I said, sort of random. Otherwise, the delivery issues, I think, are solid. Thank you.